This is a poem by Timothy Steele titled Toward the Winter Solstice, which this year came on Thursday evening at 10:27 p.m. Although the roof is just 1 story high, it dizzies me a little to look down. I lariat twirl the cord of Christmas lights and cast it to the weeping birch's crown. A dowel into which I've screwed a hook enables me to reach, lift, drape, and twine the cord among the boughs so that the bulbs will accent the tree's elegant design. Friends, passing home from work or shopping, pause and call up commendations or critiques. I make adjustments. Though a potpourri of Muslims, Christians, Buddhists, Jews, and Sikhs, we are all conscious of the time of year. We all enjoy its colorful displays and keep some festival that mitigates the dwindling warmth and compass of the days. Some say that LA doesn't suit the Yule, but UPS vans now like magi make their present-laden rounds, while fallen leaves are gaily resurrected in their wake. The desert lifts a full moon from the east and issues a dry Santa Ana breeze, and valets at chic restaurants will soon be tending flocks of cars and SUVs. And as the neighborhoods sink into dusk, the fan palms scattered all across town stand more calmly prominent, and this place seems a vast oasis in the Holy Land. This house might be a caravansary, the tree a kind of cordial fountainhead of welcome, looped and decked with necklaces and signatures of green, yellow, blue, and red. Some wonder if the Star of Bethlehem occurred when Jupiter and Saturn crossed. It's comforting to look up from this roof and feel that, while all changes, nothing is lost. To recollect that in antiquity, the winter solstice fell in Capricorn, and that in the Orion Nebula, from swirling gas, new stars are being born. The ushers will now pass among you to collect your offering for the works and ministries of this congregation. Another take on angels. This is Pat Schneider's poem, Is There an Angel in the House? Is there an angel in the house? If there is, come to me. Roost, if you roost, on my shoulder. Put the cool palms of your hands lightly on my eyes. Wrap my nakedness in wings. And if you aren't too tired or otherwise occupied, and if it isn't too tacky a request, please rock me. I am bruised. If you hold me until morning, I promise I will rise and light the fire and break the bread and put back on my shoulder my corner of the world. But for now, I could use the shelter of a wing. Excuse me? Excuse me? Is there an angel in the house? For many people, the holiday season is the most trying time of all, as W.H. Auden once put it in a poem we will get to shortly. The hallmarkification of the holiday suggests that everyone's happy, everyone's at home with a family, everyone is well gifted and well provided for, and we know in all too many cases, not all of those things are true, and in some, none of them are. We have to ask the question, if you need an angel, you need to voice the question to yourself, to those around you, to people you love, to those of us here at All Souls. And if you are feeling angelic this holiday season, listen. You will doubtless hear those around you or see in their faces or their drawn smiles that they need an angel. They need some words of comfort, words of cheer, words of guidance, words of support. So whether you need an angel or you can be an angel or both, this is the season for angels. Let's pause for a few minutes of silent reflection and think of ourselves in angelic terms. My prayer for all of us this season is that we will both find and be the angels that we need in our day. Let's sing together the wonderful Advent hymn, People Look East. W.H. Auden, the celebrated 20th century poet, wrote a long piece called For the Time Being, which he subtitled A Christmas Oratorio. This is the closing speech by the narrator, which takes place after Christmas and describes the challenges that remain. Well, so that is that. Now we must dismantle the tree, putting the decorations back into their cardboard boxes, some have gotten broken, and carrying them up to the attic. The holly and the mistletoe must be taken down and burnt, and the children got ready for school. There are enough leftovers to do, warmed up for the rest of the week. Not that we have much appetite, having drunk quite a lot, stayed up late, attempted quite unsuccessfully to love all of our relatives, and in general grossly overestimated our powers. Once again, as in previous years, we have seen the actual vision and failed to do more than entertain it as an agreeable possibility. Once again, we have sent him away, begging, though, to remain his disobedient servant, the promising child who cannot keep his word for long. The Christmas feast is already a fading memory, and already the mind begins to be vaguely aware of an unpleasant whiff of apprehension at the thought of Lent and Good Friday, which cannot, after all, now be very far off. But for the time being, here we are, back in the moderately Aristotelian city of Darning and the 815, where Euclid's geometry and Newton's mechanics would account for our experience, and the kitchen table exists because I scrub it. It seems to have shrunk during the holidays. The streets are much narrower than we remembered. We had forgotten the office was as depressing as this. To those who have seen the child, however dimly, however incredulously, the time being is, in a sense, the most trying time of all. In the meantime, there are bills to be paid, machines to keep in repair, irregular verbs to learn, the time being to redeem from insignificance. The happy morning is over, the night of agony still to come, the time is noon, when the spirit must practice its scales of rejoicing without even a hostile audience, and the soul endures a silence that is neither for nor against its faith that God's will be done, that, in spite of its prayers, God will cheat no one, not even the world, of its triumph. As most of you probably know, Robert Frost vies with Emily Dickinson as the two poets who compete for top billing in my personal pantheon of poets. Most days of the year, Emily Dickinson gets the nod for the top spot, but there are some days of the year that Robert Frost has to take the lead. The imagery of the star has been attached to Christmas since the very beginning, and indeed it has come into our lexicon in many ways. Star of Bethlehem, North Star, Guide Star, Pole Star, all of which suggest a way to orient our moral and existential lives. I love this poem by Frost. It has some wonderful lines. Dark is what brings out your light. Stars are only useful when it's dark. And, he says, not choose a star, but choose something like a star. We all need some frame of reference for our lives. And at our best, that's what we do here from week to week, is establish that guide star, that North Star, so we can get our lives oriented. This is Robert Frost's Choose Something Like a Star. O star, the fairest one in sight, we grant your loftiness the right to some obscurity of cloud. It will not do to say of night, since dark is what brings out your light. Some mystery becomes the proud, but to be wholly taciturn in your reserve is not allowed. Say something to us we can learn by heart and when alone repeat. Say something. And it says, I burn. But say with what degree of heat? Talk Fahrenheit, talk centigrade. Use language we can comprehend. Tell us what elements you blend. It gives us strangely little aid, but does tell something in the end. And steadfast as Keats' eremite, not even stooping from its sphere, it asks a little of us here. It asks of us a certain height. So when at times the mob is swayed to carry praise or blame too far, we may choose something like a star to stay our minds on and be stayed. We close with Deck the Halls. Let's sing together.